She got down on one knee in the middle of the African wilderness. She said yes. She was glowing. She posted about it. And within days, she was dead. Stop whatever you are doing right now and pay attention to this story, because this one is going to stay with you. A woman celebrates her 31st birthday in one of the most beautiful places on earth. She gets a ring on her finger. She posts that she is exactly where she needs to be. And then she is gone. And the man who proposed to her never once picked up the phone to call her family. Not once. Drop in the comments right now. Where are you watching this from, and what time is it over there right now as you are watching this? I want to know where in the world this story is reaching. And if you are not subscribed yet, hit that button right now, because this is exactly the kind of story we cover here at Dark Evidence Lab. Now, let's get into it. Her name was Ashlee Jenae, 31 years old, born and raised in New Jersey, built her life from the ground up in Miami. And by every single account from every person who ever knew her, she was the kind of woman you do not forget. Not because of what she did for a living, not because of who she knew, but because of the way she moved through life. The energy she carried into every room. The kind of presence that makes people stop and pay attention the moment you walk in. She was bright. She was driven. She was magnetic. And her story starts the way a lot of great stories do, with a simple favor between two friends. Her best friend had just gotten a job in Miami and needed someone to ride along for the 18-hour drive down south. Ashlee said yes. Her flight back home to New Jersey was already booked for that Monday. It was just a road trip. No plan. No agenda. Just doing something nice for someone she loved. But by Wednesday of that same week, Ashlee Jenae had already gotten herself a job in Miami. She went back home, packed her bags, and never looked back. Just like that, Miami became her city. And it fit her perfectly. She had the look, the energy, and the drive to match everything Miami demanded. She started modeling. Not casually, seriously. She grinded her way up from nothing into a career that had her appearing in music videos alongside some of the biggest names in the entire industry. Rick Ross, Migos, Meek Mill. That kind of roster does not just happen. You do not stumble your way onto sets like that. You earn it. You show up for it. You work for it every single day until the right people cannot ignore you anymore. And that is exactly what Ashlee did. By the time she hit her early 30s, she had made her next move. She had grown into a full-time content creator and influencer with an Instagram following that genuinely engaged. People who actually cared about what she was doing and where she was going. She was not just pretty on a feed. She was building something real. Something that belonged entirely to her. From the outside, her life looked like the kind of story that young women save on their phones for motivation. The Jersey girl who drove 18 hours on a whim and turned it into an entire life in the sun. That was Ashlee Jenae, and her story was supposed to keep going. Like and subscribe if you believe every case like this deserves to be told, because we are just getting started. Now we need to talk about the man in the picture. Because understanding who Joe McCain is, really understanding it, matters a great deal to everything that comes after this. Joe McCain was the founder and chief executive officer of a company called Asymmetric Financial, a modern cryptocurrency investment fund. That name, though, asymmetric. In finance, that word describes a situation where one side of a relationship has significantly more information than the other. More knowledge, more power, more control over the outcome. Whether that name was chosen on purpose or not, it would take on a whole different meaning before this story was over. On paper, Joe looked impressive by every standard you could measure. More than 2 decades of experience across Wall Street and Silicon Valley. He ran a quantitative trading operation for cryptocurrency at a San Francisco hedge fund. Before that, he was a senior director at Microsoft. He sat on advisory boards. He had been covered by Forbes, TechCrunch, and the Wall Street Journal. And in 2024, his fund was ranked as the #1 performing fund globally. Not just in cryptocurrency. Across every single asset class on Earth. This was a man with serious money, serious access, the kind of person who could book a private villa in Zanzibar without a second thought. And at some point, that man and Ashlee Jenae found each other. They had been together for a while before this trip. Ashlee posted about him openly, photos together, warm captions, the kind of words that say this is my person and I am proud of it. She was not hiding anything. She was not playing it down. She was in it fully. But here is what people started noticing when they went back and looked carefully at both of their pages. Joe never posted her. Not one time. She had him all over her feed. Photos, captions, the whole picture. And on his side, nothing. Not a single post acknowledging her. Not a public mention anywhere. She claimed him loudly and proudly. He claimed her in total silence. Make it make sense. Now here is the part that changes everything. People had been leaving warnings on Ashlee's posts for months before she ever left for Tanzania. Months. One comment, posted 20 weeks before she lost her life, said this word for word. He is going to end your life. Another one said, he will hurt you. One account used the word captor. Not controlling. Not abusive. Captor. And then just weeks before the trip, another account left this. Asterisk, he is going to harm you. Get out now. Asterisk. Now, were those people actually seeing something real? Probably not in the way we might want to believe. Comments like that get left on social media all the time, especially on posts from women in high-profile relationships. People say things. Sometimes they mean nothing. But look at those comments now. After everything that happened, they do not feel like random internet noise anymore. They feel like a warning that the whole world could see and nobody acted on. They feel like a chorus of voices all pointing in the same direction and being completely ignored. Ashlee never responded to a single one. And that is something that will sit with you long after this video is over. Joe had planned a trip. Tanzania, the island of Zanzibar, one of the most breathtaking places that exists anywhere on this earth. Crystal clear water, white sand, wildlife that most people on this planet will never see in their lifetimes. The kind of destination that does not feel real when you see it in photos. The plan was to celebrate Ashlee's 31st birthday. A private villa, a safari, the full experience. The kind of trip that becomes something you talk about for the rest of your life. On April 1st, while they were out in the middle of the Tanzanian wilderness, surrounded by some of the most stunning scenery imaginable, Joe got down on one knee. He proposed. Ashlee said yes. She posted about it immediately, and you could see it all over her face. She was genuinely happy. She was glowing in the way that people glow when something big and good happens, and they cannot contain it. In those photos, in those posts. Ashlee Jenae looked like a woman who believed her life was going exactly the way it was supposed to. That is not up for debate. Then on April 5th, her actual birthday, she went online and posted photos from Tanzania with a caption that said, Chapter 31, and I am exactly where I need to be. Joe replied to that post with one word. Me. She replied back with one word. Forever. 2 words. Between 2 people. On what should have been one of the most joyful moments of her entire life. And now, knowing what comes next, those 2 words hit completely differently. Forever. Days later, she was gone. Ashlee's family made one thing very clear from the very beginning. Anything not coming directly from them should be treated as unverified. So this is exactly what they confirmed. Nothing more, nothing less. Ashlee was found unconscious inside her villa at the Zanzibar resort. She was rushed to a local hospital. Hours later, her passing was confirmed. And Joe McCain told Tanzanian authorities that Ashlee's death was self-inflicted. Let that land for a second. A woman who had just gotten engaged 4 days earlier. A woman who had just turned 31 years old. A woman who had posted hours before that she was exactly where she needed to be. Happy, glowing, celebrating, living out loud for everyone who followed her. A woman who, by every single account from everyone who actually knew her, showed absolutely no signs of being in that kind of darkness. That is what Joe McCain told the authorities. Ashlee's family addressed it directly in their statement. They confirmed she was found unconscious in the villa and was rushed to the hospital where her passing was confirmed. They said that nothing about losing her feels real. That one moment she was out there celebrating love and life in the way that was so entirely, completely Ashlee, and the next she was gone. They described the circumstances as suspicious. Their exact words were that the questions surrounding her passing remain unanswered. Suspicious. That word came from her family, from the people who raised her, who knew her, who loved her her entire life. Not from the internet. Not from strangers looking for something to talk about. Her family looked at this situation and used the word suspicious. Now here is the part of this story that may be the hardest to wrap your head around. Ashlee Jenae's family found out she was dead through the United States Embassy. Not through Joe McCain. Not through a phone call from the man who had proposed to their daughter 4 days before she died. Not through a text. Not through any kind of communication from him at all. The embassy contacted them because Ashlee's body had been found and her emergency contact information was on file with her travel documents. Let that sink in completely. The man who put a ring on her finger. The man she called her forever. The man who was right there in that villa with her. He never reached out to her family to tell them she was dead. Her parents got that call from the embassy. And while they were getting that call, while they were being told their daughter was gone, Joe McCain was on social media retweeting posts about cryptocurrency. No rest in peace. No statement. No acknowledgement that anything had happened at all. No grief that anyone could see. Nothing about Ashlee. Not her name. Not a word. Just business as usual. How do you explain that? Go ahead and think about it for a second, because there is no good explanation. People went back and combed through his social media after this came out. And what they found made the picture even harder to look at. His pages had connections to accounts tied to deeply exclusionary ideologies. Material tied to groups that hold hostile and biased views toward the black community. And yet here was this man, in a relationship with a black woman, engaged to a black woman, celebrating her birthday with a black woman in one of the most romantic settings on earth. People started putting things together. Whether what they put together means what they think it means is not for this narration to decide. That is for investigators, courts, and people with the authority and the evidence to determine. But what people saw did not sit right. It added another weight on top of a story that was already heavy, and it raised questions that no one in an official capacity seemed to be in any hurry to address. Drop your location and the time over there right now in the comments. I want to see where this story is reaching. And if you have not subscribed yet, do it right now. There is something about this case that reaches beyond Ashlee Jenae, and it needs to be said clearly. Because this is not just about one woman and one man in one villa in Tanzania. This is about a pattern. Americans who lose their lives abroad rarely get the justice their families deserve. That is not an opinion. That is what the record shows over and over again. Foreign jurisdiction, limited embassy authority, investigations that drag on for years, or quietly stop moving altogether. Families thousands of miles away, fighting in a system they do not understand, in a country they did not choose, for someone who deserved to come home. When an American dies on foreign soil, the United States Embassy can monitor the situation. They can assist with paperwork and logistics. They can try to stay involved. But they cannot take over. They cannot force a foreign government to investigate faster. They cannot demand answers from officials who are not answerable to them. The investigation stays in the hands of the country where it happened. And that means Ashlee's family was left placing their trust in Tanzanian officials. Because what other choice did they have? They are navigating unimaginable grief from thousands of miles away. They are doing it with their daughter gone. They are doing it without answers. And they are doing it with a grace that most people could not find under that kind of weight. That is the position this system puts families in. And Ashlee Jenae's family should not be in that position. Let's be straight about what was actually confirmed versus what was just circulating online, because in a case like this, those two things matter. Reports spread across social media that Joe McCain had been taken into custody by Tanzanian authorities. The internet ran with it like it was confirmed fact. Here is the reality as of the time this story was covered. No official confirmation of an arrest had been made public. The reports contradicted each other. Some said he was in custody. Others said he was not. And not one person in any official capacity was saying anything definitive either way. That silence, from the people who actually have authority here, is one of the most unsettling pieces of this entire story. Because here is what you have to think about. If you are the person who found your fiancé not breathing in the villa you were sharing, you are one of exactly two things in that moment. You are either completely broken, destroyed, the most grief-stricken person alive, unable to think, unable to function, unable to do anything except fall apart. Or you are the person who already knows exactly what happened inside that room. There is no version of real love where losing the woman you just proposed to results in you going online to talk about the crypto market. There is no version of genuine grief that looks like complete silence toward her family while they are finding out their daughter is dead from a government agency. There is no version of this that adds up, if the story is what Joe McCain told authorities it was. Not one version. Here is everything laid out as plainly as it can be said. Ashlee Jenae, 31 years old, New Jersey raised, Miami built, a model and content creator who earned every single thing she had through her own work, her own ambition, and her own drive. She traveled to Zanzibar, Tanzania, with Joe McCain to celebrate her birthday. 4 days into that trip, he got down on one knee. She said yes. She posted about it. She was glowing. She was found unconscious inside her villa at the Zanzibar. She was rushed to a local hospital. Her passing was confirmed hours later. Joe McCain told authorities her death was self-inflicted. Her family called it suspicious. Her friends said it was impossible. As of the time this story was reported, no official autopsy results had been released to the public. No toxicology report confirmed. No cause of death verified by any medical examiner working independently from the account Joe McCain gave to police. Reports of an arrest remained unconfirmed by any official source. No charges had been announced. Nothing on public record. A man who moved on publicly as if none of it had happened. A family an ocean away, demanding answers that have not come. And a woman who deserved to come home. Asterisk chapter 31. And I am exactly where I need to be. Asterisk. That was her caption. Those were the last public words Ashlee Jenae shared with the world before everything changed. She was not sending out a cry for help. She was not saying goodbye in the way people say goodbye when they are leaving. She was not writing with the voice of someone who had given up on anything. She was celebrating. She was living fully. She was exactly where she wanted to be, and she said it out loud for every single person following her journey to see. And the man who replied to that post said one word. Me. She said forever. And days later, she was gone. The people who loved her, the ones who knew how she laughed, who knew the way she lit up a room, who knew the way she carried herself through everything life threw at her. They're the ones looking at this timeline and saying something is wrong. Something is seriously and deeply wrong here. Not because they are chasing drama. Not because they have anything to gain from this. Because they knew Ashlee Jenae. And they know this. That woman did not take her own life. The investigation is still ongoing. No official cause of passing has been confirmed. No arrest has been publicly verified. No charges have been filed. And her family is still waiting for answers that should have come the moment that villa door was opened. Ashlee Jenae was 31 years old. Jersey-born. Miami-built. A woman who made the biggest bet of her life during an 18-hour road trip and won. Who grinded her way into rooms most people will never even see the outside of. Who built everything she had from scratch, with her own hands, on her own terms. She flew to one of the most beautiful places on this earth to celebrate everything she had become. She got a ring. She got a birthday. She said she was exactly where she needed to be. And she never came home. The least any of us can do. If you watched this whole story and felt that heaviness in your chest that comes when something is clearly and terribly wrong, is keep saying her name. Do not let this fade from the timeline while her family sits in silence waiting for justice. Chapter 31 was supposed to be a beginning. Instead, it became the last thing she ever posted. Rest in peace, Ashlee Jenae. The people who loved you are watching. The people who never got to know you are watching. And nobody is forgetting. Asterisk if this story hit you, smash that like button right now, drop your location and the time where you are watching from in the comments below, and subscribe to Dark Evidence Lab so you never miss when we cover a case like this. We are watching. We are documenting. We are not letting these stories disappear.